Welcome to Tavetta Talks. I am Tavetta, and I am talking about Gary greatness, shining a spotlight on the people who inspire me, people I've watched build in the community consistently. My special guest for today is Bishop Sieon Roberts. How are you today, sir?
Doing wonderful. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I am doing well. So let's get right into this. Growing up in Gary, Indiana, what were some of your fondest memories?
I'm a real home type of guy, so I like the fact that I knew all of the corner stores. I knew the people, very ingrained in the church. Just being able to be outside and play in the streets. I just learned a lot of things from, just being able to run around the streets of Gary, Indiana. It's really hard to explain. My wife makes fun of me because whenever we go out of town, we can be away in a beautiful, whole different country. And she says that my face lights up when we hit the city limits of Gary and Northwest Indiana. So it was just being here, just knowing the dynamics, knowing, it having that small town feel to it, even though it was the biggest city in Northwest Indiana, but just knowing all of the people and being a part of the community.
Okay, so let's talk about your profession. How would you describe it in a sentence?
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I'm a pastor, so for me, it's just playing my part in building the community, That would be the sentence I probably would give, just playing my part in building community. So my part, of course, is clergy and the spiritual nature of it, but it means nothing if it's not visible and available to the community. So that's probably the best way that I would describe it.
Let's talk about that community that you love so dearly. You've been building. I've been watching the journey. In 2008, you were leading peace marches. We are here in 2021. You are still doing the work here in Gary. What keeps you hopeful about Gary, Indiana?
Just based upon what I know about scripture, anytime people counted out what I knew God's hand was on, God always showed up. So I remember when Peter Jennings came on and he declared to the whole world that Gary was the murder capital of the United States. Per capita, we were. But I just remember that national news going out. And I just remember praying and saying, Lord, if that can be the national news on Gary, we can make news for some other things. That has kept me hopeful and kept me prayerful and kept me believing that God can turn it around. And it's not been an easy journey, but we yet believe in God. This is my assignment. And as long as this is the garden that he's placed me in, I'm gonna continue to be dedicated to it.
Okay. That's a whole lot. Thank you for how you shared that so significantly. Let's talk about the odds. How did you defy the odds that were against you to become who you are today?
Wow. It's crazy. Like literally was God and my mama, because I tried. I tried everything I can. I really tried. Simply because I was raised in the church. I was trying not to have that church stigma on me, trying to be a street boy, trying to fit in, didn't have a father. So these guys from the street were kind of welcoming of me. And that's a very real thing. I know we hear that, but young men want people to welcome them. And so I really, really tried to go opposite of what I'm doing now before I said yes. And it was my mother, who was a single mother, who prayed for me, stuck it out with me, hung in there with me, did everything she could for me. And I think her prayers really kind of pulled me whereas I was able to say yes to the call, and that my life just changed after that.
Today, how do you stay focused to remain in alignment with your assignments?
I have a pastor. He helps me to stay focused. And just seeing that there's so much work that needs to be done, still. We've done a lot. We've been plowing, like you said, 2008, that was 3 years into my tenure. I started pastoring in 2005, was working before I started pastoring. So we just continue to plow and see the work that needs to be done. And my pastor, Archbishop William Hudson, helps to keep me focused, pours into me and helps me to understand who I am. That's the main way I stay focused. My wife, my family, they help keep me grounded. They help me help remind me that I have a job to do. The work that needs to be done is kind of how I stay focused, because I'm seeing that there's always something that needs to be done.
Let's talk about schools. So what schools did you attend in Gary?
Williams Elementary School first, and then I went to Charles R. Drew Elementary School. From there, I went to Pulaski Middle School. And then my mom sent me to private school my 7th, 8th, 9th grade year. 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, I went to William A. Wirt High School in Miller. So that's where I graduated from Wirt High School.
Let's reflect on that journey. What would you say would be your top lesson you learned from some of your teachers?
Some of the teachers that stuck out to me was Miss Reynolds from Pulaski. The main teacher that stuck out to me was she was my principal, Miss Judy Dunlap. And she probably was the person that taught me the greatest lesson. That's crazy because she wasn't even my teacher. But I learned from her. She used to always say, excuses are the tools incompetent use to build for themselves great monuments of nothing. And so she taught me that. She taught me not to make excuses. She taught me, just get the job done, whatever it is that put in your hands to do. And she's the reason why I'm coaching now.
I am guessing that was a part of the training, because prior to your saying that, another person that I spoke with said the same lesson, different schools. So all of our teachers got it and we got it.
Yeah.
I am thankful for that. So let's talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
How do you believe being nurtured in Gary, Indiana has equipped you to make a positive difference around the world?
It's not the easiest place to, number one, grow up, as much as I love it. So it's helped me to be able to put everything in perspective for people. And I feel like the grind that's here in Gary, which again is a grind that I love, the people are great. And I feel like we do the best with what we have here in Gary. And specifically the people themselves have helped me, because I feel like if you can lead and help and grind here, then wherever else you go, you can get it done there and you can help other people there. It's really helped me to be grateful.
What do you hope to leave as your personal legacy in the city of Gary?
The way that you just rattled off from my bio or wherever it be, from the things that I was able to do, the peace marches, the bless the block, the lives that we've helped to get saved, to come to Christ, the books that I've written, whatever it is, I'm hoping that people will be able to remember those things and carry on the spirit of that as long as that memory and that is around, even if I'm gone, somebody will pick up that torch and say, hey, we got to help the people of Gary. We got to march for peace, pray on these street corners, or we have to help with the social economic system. Whatever we can do, I'm hoping that is the legacy that is left behind, that people will pick up that torch behind me and continue the work.
Okay, you've made this huge community positive impact. I want to commend you for the impact that you've made, that I've witnessed with your sons, to defy all of the odds against you, to turn what could have been a stop into a stepping stone, and to get them to where they are today in life is a huge success. How does that feel? Do you think about you are that person now ushering in generational blessings for your bloodline? What do you think about that?
That makes me sometimes tear up just to think about the difference that my kids will have that I didn't have, right? That I'm able to do something that for them that I never had. And so that book, Where's My Father, The Missing Pattern, I wrote that because they do have their father. So it let me to help me to understand, hey, this is what happens when you don't have a father. This is what happens when you do have a father that is very present. And that's probably the thing that I'm the most proud of, the fact that after 18 years of marriage, I had to learn how to be a good husband. But I think that I've done a decent job at being those boys' father. And, now that two of them are in college and one of them is a junior in high school, it's just an amazing feeling to know that I, was able to usher them into young male manhood. And the blessing is And I have to tell them this all the time. To God be the glory. Like, I've never had to come get them from the police station. 2 of the 3 of them have been on the honor roll their whole entire life. The third one is on in college on a football scholarship. Just all of these things that, you know, when it's all over, you sit and you're like, man, God, you did this. You helped me to be that kind of father and help me to help them defy the odds.
Well, final question for this segment. To the people who may still have the question, does greatness really come from Gary? What would be your answer?
Absolutely, it does. I mean, yeah, there are some great people who have not even been recognized for their greatness yet. There are some people here who have amazing gifts, talents, have been working to help the community and have done things nationally. Absolutely, greatness did, does, and will continue to come from Gary, Indiana.
Well, thank you again for your time. I appreciate you. Continue success and progress in every area of your life, and may the absolute best of God be yours for the rest of your life.
Thank you.